strawberry rhubarb pie with a twist. More on that later. First, I got some fresh picked strawberries here. Whoop, don't drop them. I'm going to take these guys, remove the tops here. And these strawberries aren't that big, so I'm just going to cut these in half. I don't want to cut them too small because I want the strawberries to have some body for our pie filling. That size looks perfect. I'll cut the rest of these here. We're looking for 2 1/4 cups of fresh strawberries. There you go, 2 1/4 cups. Add that to a bowl. We'll set this aside and then we'll work on our rhubarb. So we got the rhubarb here. And we want to take the tops off because the greens are toxic. We don't want to eat those. Discard that. We'll remove the bottoms here. And then we just want to give this rhubarb a good wash. Once the rhubarb is washed, I'm just going to cut this down. I want this about 1/4 inch thick. You want to have the rhubarb small enough where it's going to cook fully as the pie bakes. No bigger than that because then the rhubarb will have an unpleasant texture. So we'll cut the rest of this here, and we're going to do equal parts rhubarb to strawberry for this recipe. The rhubarb is going to give a nice bitterness, counteract the sweetness with our strawberries. I'll add that to my measuring cup, make sure I have 2 1/4 cups, and we'll add that to the bowl with our strawberries. Now we can season these up. Got a cup of sugar. And then I like to add 1/2 cup of brown sugar, 1 teaspoon of salt, 1 tablespoon of some good vanilla. And here's that little twist. I got some Grand Marnier here, some orange cognac. It's going to add nice flavor to the strawberry rhubarb pie. You're not going to get a strong alcohol flavor from this because most of the alcohol is going to cook off as the pie bakes. You're just going to be left with that subtle Grand Marnier flavor of the orange cognac, and it's really a wonderful flavor. So I'm going to add 1 tablespoon of this liqueur, and then to go off that liqueur flavor, I'm going to add the zest, a little bit from an orange. 1 tablespoon we're looking for. If you don't want to add the Grand Marnier, you could add a tablespoon of fresh orange juice. We'll mix all our ingredients together. And that's basically the flavoring for our pie filling. These strawberries are going to give off a lot of juice as they bake and as they sit. So to help thicken that up, I'm going to add a 1/4 cup of cornstarch. This is a key ingredient for the strawberry rhubarb pie. If you don't add the cornstarch, you're going to be stuck with a soup instead of a pie. Strawberries are going to release a lot of their juices as it bakes. Cornstarch is going to thicken everything up and make it a jelly consistency. Make sure the cornstarch coats everything, and that's our filling for the strawberry rhubarb pie. Let that sit while we prepare our crust. You can see it's already thickening up. So our filling set aside, we can prepare our pie shell. Got a 9-inch pie plate here, and a flour clean work surface. Bring in the pie dough. This is my homemade pie crust recipe. I'll link a video at the top of the screen if you didn't see that. It's really easy to make. It's really flavorful. You always want to go with a homemade pie crust instead of store-bought. Just flatten it out a bit and then roll it out. Again, I'll go into detail on my pie crust video if you want to check that out. Once our pie crust is rolled out, we'll roll it on our rolling pin and then just gently roll that over our pie plate. Trim off the excess and keep those trimmings to make smaller pies I like to do. We'll set that aside in the fridge. Meantime, I rolled out the other half of my pie dough and we're going to use this for a lattice. So I have this accordion pastry cutter here, and I'm just going to cut this into strips. And I like to do a lattice for this pie because we want steam to escape from the pie as it bakes, because we want to make sure that this pie thickens up. So I'll just cut my strips here. I'll show you how we do this lattice. And once our strips are cut, bring back our pie shell, and we'll add our filling. You'll see that some of the strawberries have released some of the juice. That's okay. Make sure you add that into the pie. It's all going to thicken up, and that's all flavor right there. You don't want to just throw that out. Our pie shell's filled. Now I'll take a tablespoon of unsalted butter. I'm just going to cut that into cubes and dot that around the pie. Take a little bit of water, rub it around the edge. This way the lattice will help stick better. And then just lay your lattice. Take 5 strips, lay it across, and then take the first, the third, and the 5th strip, and just lay your lattice perpendicular to that. Fold it back over, and now just lift the 2nd and the 4th strip and do the same. Then fold that over. Just go back to lifting the 1st, 3rd, and 5th until your pie is covered. Trim off the excess once your lattice is done. And just take that and crimp it underneath the pie shell. And I like to take a fork and just crimp the edges. This way everything is closed and secured. I will take a beaten egg with a little bit of water and just brush the top of the pie. It's a really important step. This way you have a nice golden crust on the pie. Make sure you cover the whole thing. Once that's covered, sprinkle some turbinado sugar over the top. I got my oven preheated to 400 degrees Fahrenheit, 204 Celsius. I'm going to put this on a sheet tray, pop this in the oven, about 25 minutes to a half hour. About 25 minutes later, our crust is starting to brown, and now we want to cover this up because the pie is not finished cooking and we don't want that crust to burn. So just take some tin foil and wrap it around the pie. If you have a pie shield, you could use that. Tin foil works just as well. Just fold it over the crust. This way those edges won't burn. I turned down my oven temperature to 350 degrees Fahrenheit, 176 Celsius. Put this back in until it's done cooking. So this took about another 35 minutes. Our pie is ready to go. Remove our tinfoil pie shield, and you can see some of our juice bubbled over, and that's what you're looking for. That's when you know it's done. So now we want to just let this pie rest at least 3 hours. Let that thicken up, let the juices redistribute. Just let this pie do its thing. Do not cut into it. Our pie's rested, cut out a slice here, and that's perfect. We don't have a soup, we have a perfect strawberry rhubarb pie. Look at that. Pop this on a plate here. Add a scoop of vanilla, a little bit of mint, and that's my strawberry rhubarb pie. Perfect summer dessert. That Grand Marnier adds a wonderful subtle flavor. Give this recipe a try. Thanks again for watching. I'll see you in the next one.